June the 28th, 2016. I'm Dana Durnford, your host, nuclear proctologist.org, and we're going to continue on talking about Fukushima and talking about the effects. We're going to mix up headlines and studies on tritium. And I think this show really tells a lot in the context of, here's the headlines and here's a study on how radiation, just tritium. Tritium is one of the few radiations in context of how scary radiation normally is not as scary as a lot of the radiation that we're worried about. But it turned out that tritium is produced constantly and has to be reproduced constantly every 12 years for triggers for nuclear weapons, and that it's a major byproduct. And tritium is tritiated water. It's radiated water. It's tritium 3H. It's kind of complicated, but let's walk through it and let's break it down for everybody. Anytime you're ready, Dana. Don't know what I've done that time. So, Fukushima and privatization of risk. Japan doctor, April 29, 2013, so enraged by the government's response of Fukushima. So they turned their backs on children is basically what's going on. Alarming reality at Fukushima plant faced with new crisis. TEPCO clearly hanging on day by day. Just as a fact. Because the academics around the world are not there. It's homeless, destitute, and immigrants that don't speak the language. Much too dangerous, apparently, to send in real scientists. Nuclear scientists will never go there. Ionizing radiation and non-human biota effects on low level. Radiation is present in the environment from natural, which is not radiation. Anthropogenic sources are. But natural stuff is not going to harm you. You're acclimated to it through genetic superior selection. Everybody lives in harmony with it, per se. Well, nuclear is a single atom in your body, and decades down the road you're going to have a big cancer, but you might have cancer quicker than that. Cancer is the last one to show up. And up to 1,800 diseases before cancer. Civilian use of nuclear materials result in chronic releases of low-level radiation to the environment. And so pre-studies, we're not going to cover them today, but pre-studies on tritium around the world, we've covered it before on the site many times here, like we're doing right now with the documentation, was say 3 to 7 becquerels per cubic meter per 100 liter. Cubic meter is 1,000 liters, and they do 1,000 liters, 100 liters, and then 10 or a liter for testing, just for some reason. It's usually a cubic meter, 1,000 liters. But the effects are well known over the years. Goldfish, I thought this was a good one, swimming in reactor water, tritiated water, died soon after. The NRC, Nuclear Regulatory, was concerned about workers' morals, because they know something you don't. Vast areas of 60 million people contaminated by Fukushima disaster. This is 3 melted reactors. This is something else if you're not familiar with it. Critical radionuclides, critical pathway department. So they knew a lot way back. When was that study done? That was 1999. And so vegetation consumption, inhalation, liquid releases, drinking water, fish consumption, recreation fishing, deer and hog hunting. Cesium is the critical radionuclide, but cesium is just a tracer. It means all the other radionuclides are there. TEPCO dumped groundwater from Fukushima in 2013, trying to avoid a total collapse. And see, that's why we're sending in the homeless and the destitute and the victims of society and the immigrants, is because we can't even deal with the water. They won't build another facility somewhere else and ship the water there. Now, the water that they're storing is not so much tritium, which is tritiated water, radiated water. So it's like pouring gasoline in a liter of drinking water You can't get the gas out of the drinking water again, per se. But, you know, because it's the water itself becomes poison. That's all tritium water. What tritium means, really, it's radioactive water. It's like a screwdriver, and you touch a battery, the screwdriver is now magnetized. Well, radiation does that with everything, including water. But because it's fissionable product, it's extraordinarily dangerous. Tritium is the least harmful one, but that's why I'm showing you the studies. So if the studies I'm showing you, the health impacts, say, from carbon-14 is another one. They act like krypton-85, which attacks your lungs, just like plutonium and americium, which are major worries. These are elements that are coming from a chain reaction. And so all these studies are just on stuff that we're not worried about compared to uranium, plutonium, americium, neptunians, and the thousands and thousands of other radionuclides, but yet they're very harmful. Is all I'm showing you and proving to you. TEPCO's dumping the contaminated water. The water is releasing X-rays and neutrons and gamma. And so they say they are able to filter out 60 of the radionuclides that are in the water, which is hogwash. Everybody knows that's hogwash. Chernobyl wouldn't be an issue if there wasn't hogwash, okay? But not only that, none of the nuclear waste sites would be an issue if they were able to deal with it. And if they take it out, then they got to put it somewhere on top of that. Like 30 million bags, 1-ton bags around Japan. Just the Fukushima prefecture itself, tens of thousands of individual dumping sites with over 30 million bags that we know about. Twice as much water entering as the ocean as the government claims. Well, look, each reactor needs 13,500 tons a minute. And so 600 tons a day is how they're fooling you and tricking you and deceiving you, manipulating you and confusing you, ridiculing you and mocking you and embarrassing you and humiliating you and wrecking everything on the planet. Radio protection by pre-treatment, about mice. So once again, they know the effects of this stuff, right, on the intestines and everywhere else. Is all this is showing you. Rising radioactive spills at Fukushima plant, more contamination, less hope. TEPCO reverses position amidst the plant's groundwater is contaminated with radioactive cesium. Wants to dump it into the ocean because of the X-rays and neutrons, the gammas, and they're killing all these homeless. They're running out of the homeless that they're shanghaiing off the street and throwing away like paper towels. The nuclear industry, yeah? 2012, a year after, the objective for the nuclear industry is to produce energy in the form of heat. And so if you take an atom, this is why it gives you cancer, because it's putting out energy. It's heat. If you fill the ocean up with it, the ocean's going to heat up. If you fill the environment up with it, it's going to heat up. If you fill your mountains up with it, it's going to heat up, and it's going to get rid of the glaciers, etc., etc., etc. This is exactly what we're seeing manifesting. Fukushima plant was leaking. See, that's just such a terrible lie, the word leaking and bleeding. These are constructs. These are meant to confuse you. These are educated people who know exactly what the difference are in the words. Radiated parents and their children. This was an interesting one. 104 irradiated subjects. 83 Chernobyl nuclear power plant liquidators and 21 nuclear specialists. And additionally, 21 families whose fathers were nuclear specialists. And what did they find? They found a Gatling pin fitted right in the laughing shaft, and that they had to hide it away because the implications of it was dire for the nuclear industry. Yeah, that was some supporting. I forgot to bring that up. I can't even remember the context anymore. New radioactive leaks from Fukushima Reactor 2 may be underway. Concerns about vertical steam. This is radiation bursts. That's what steam is. It's just condensing, condensation. It's these hot elements coming up and meeting a different temperature. It becomes visible, looks like steam. Suck it down, dead man walking. Get it in your food. Dead man walking. Dead man walking. Fukushima plant is hemorrhaging. There you go. That's a nice word. I like that word. That word, it works for me. I like it. I like it lots and lots. Scariest part of all is they don't know where it's coming from. See? Somebody told the truth. Because that's the truth. That's the truth. Bah. The tote train coming down the track. The big mystery is why contamination is coming out now in such a hurry. Because of a chain reaction consuming rocks and steel and rebar 9,000 degree Fahrenheit temperatures. Because the chain reaction never stopped. But they call it China syndrome. That's why chain reaction, like think about a chain reaction. Think about a boat. You get a boat up on a plane, you pull back on the throttle and you keep it on a plane. You don't run it pinned all the time because you chew up fuel. You can't afford to. Right? And so a nuclear reactor, they can't run it because it'll run away. They can't pin it because it'll take off and melt down and buzz off through the planet somewhere. Like all these studies are not there because of something to do. No, because for marine life is being poisoned. Anybody eats it is being poisoned. See, and the fish are the last ones to die. And they die in mass. But the whales and the sea lions and the mass bird die-offs, that tells the whole story, right? They all were emaciated. The polar bears and the walrus and everything else, emaciated. 500,000 birds starved to death recently. Saltwater birds. The murs, common murs. I imported the clips, but I'm not going to play them tonight. But nevertheless, fears marine life is being poisoned. So, the distribution types of cancers follows breast 52%, blah, 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 which is all pain and misery and agony and horror. And it's not necessary. There's 6 times more breast cancer if you're within a nuclear, 15 miles of a nuclear power plant. There's 22% more likely of a child killer leukemia. But there's a lot of transient people moving to different jobs and moving in and out of these places. There's no long-term studies. There's just scattered studies where people go out, scientists go out, knock on the doors and compile the documentation. They should be looking for diabetes. They should be looking for Alzheimer's and dementia. Fukushima, that cancer is the last one to show up. Fukushima tanks releasing X-rays and neutrons and gamma. Yeah. Exposure to people outside the planet is very, very high. Hundreds of tanks could easily start leaking after a quake. My theory is it's all gone. They dumped it already into the ocean. Because of the gammas and the X-rays and the neutrons, never had no choice. Trying to stay on the site. And only the homeless are going in there. Harvard's not going to go in there. Yale's not going in there. They're going to set up a shop in there. TEPCO emits radioactive water. This is not tritium. This is fissionable products. This is splitting the atom. This is bad news. This is as grave and dire as it gets. TEPCO emits the water's flowing. I can live with that word. Hemorrhaging is cool. Flowing is cool. They're pretty good words. Leaking and bleeding. I want to bite somebody's ear off when I hear that one. Not figuratively. Just like, ah! Like when you bite your tongue accidentally. It's one of those things. Experts warn of effects on humans. Fear of ocean contamination. Really? Huh? Really? Well, I went out and done 260 days on the coastline, 15,000 miles. I got an extinction event. I'm out in the boat every day, and I just drift along because I can't afford the gas. Drifting along, observe, record, and report. And the report is nothing after jumping, nothing flying, nothing eating. I got to do something, though. I don't know what else to do. I'm just one person, but I don't feel like I can, like I don't know what to do anymore. I just know I got to keep trying harder and try to be more articulate and try to be more whatever that I haven't been able to be before, whatever that might be. Who knows? Tritium uptake in southeastern U.S. soil. Who cares? Fukushima reactor site engulfed by steam. Who cares? Continuously wafting through the air. Who cares? Work to remove rubble suspended. Who cares? Tritium levels in milk in the vicinity of chronic tritium releases. Who cares? The kids are drinking radiation, ain't it? But the people who tell you it's like a banana or a potato chip or like natural stuff, or says there's more natural than there is man-made, just walk away from these people. Walk away permanently. Tell them you're disgusted. Tell them it's an absolute fabrication. And that when people do that, you can't trust them anymore. It's your job to do that. I'll keep doing it, but it's your job too. Gizmodo entirely possible leaking, which is a terrible word. It's not appropriate. Should never be used. Why would you use the word leaking? What kind of idiot, moron, deviant, maniacal, twisted, demented freak of nature would come up with that word? Well, use that word. And bleeding is another one of those words. Fish contamination concern beyond. Who got an education knows better is all I'm saying, right? I'm not saying people got sucked in are bad people because they used the narratives that they got sucked into and don't know any better. I'm not blaming these people. I'm blaming the ones with the education and knows better. And that's every public speaker out there in the system. Fish contamination concerns spread beyond Japan. Really? Fish die last. We eat the fish and then we die. But fish are dying off, yeah. Total extinction event playing out in the Pacific Ocean. The biggest body of water on the planet. Tritium doses to blah, blah, blah. You gotta pay to figure out what that one is. Nuclear material flowing in the ocean of grave matter. But why would they study that unless there was something going on? And why would they hide it behind a paywall unless there was something going on? Nuclear material flowing in the ocean, especially when you paid for it originally. And else for a Springer and Wiley gets to hide it behind the paywalls. Who the figure these people takes all of our academic works and hides it away? Maybe 12 people read it. Usually there's a number there that tells you how many people bought it. It's usually 6 to 12 people. 4 years work and 6 or 12 people read it. Why bother? Well, because a handful of corporations wanted it. Your world would be so much better if we didn't lock everything up behind paywalls. We lock everything up. Every 4 million a year locked up behind paywalls, studies in North America. Quick as we can produce them, they're locked up and you can't talk about them. Nuclear material flowing into the ocean of grave matter. The situation at Fukushima is deplorable. I suppose. That's a polite way of putting it, maybe. Boiling somewhere inside of Fukushima, Unit 3, mixed oxide fuel. It's where they use reclaimed uranium, reclaimed plutonium. That reactor is 2 million times worse than any current reactor on the planet. The mixed oxide fuel is a hoax. They say, oh, we're getting rid of fuel. No, you're not. You're burning it up and releasing it into the environment. You people are mentally ill. The charters you have for nuclear plants was nothing got off the site. Now you're burning it up. Hell, TEPCO's burning it in the incinerators all over the pictures. Right at the TEPCO, Diachi Military Industrial Complex, they have incinerators. They're completely out of control. There's no checks and balances. There's no one to hold them accountable. It's up to you. It's up to us. And you hold them accountable. What are we talking about? You hold them accountable by using the proper narrative. You hold it accountable by telling the people that are out there telling you that is like natural or bananas or getting on an airplane or walking in sunshine and stuff like that, like natural stuff. Anybody says the word natural, they should be prosecuted. They should lose their degrees. There should be public outrage. There should be blowback immediately. It should be forthcoming. You should be able to just, 1 million people should come out and slam and say, hey, you lied. We're not going to send our children to your university no more. You lied. We're not going to support your institution no more. You lied. We want you out of there, and we want people there who are not going to be lying to us. And that would mean every university, you got to change out all their professors and definitely all of their deans and all of their staff. These are all PR firms. The nuclear industry in particular have taken over everything. They've destroyed Hollywood on top of that. They destroyed everything. They permeated in every aspect of our life and is predicated upon lie after lie after lie. Bananas, potato chips, walking in the sunshine, getting on an airplane. 70 years. Can't tell you the truth because everything else crumbles. Then all of a sudden, well, why did you lie to us for 70 years? Well, TEPCO just lied for 5 years. They come out and come clean. Kinda. One guy's going to take a deduction for a month of 10% of his paycheck. Wow, that's some serious blowback for killing millions of people and wrecking an entire Pacific Ocean. You're going to lose 10% of your pay for a month. That's how out of touch with reality those people are. The people in charge are so far out of touch with any kind of moral obligation or any kind of accountability. And the government is not going to prosecute them because the government is helping facilitating it. Nobody in your government is doing what they're supposed to do. You know that as well as I do. They're not there to do what they claim they're there to do. You know, you hired them to do a job, then they told you to get lost the minute they got the job. Didn't they use the system to try to shut you up the minute they got the job? Didn't they use everything in the system to try to vilify you and demonize you and marginalize you the minute they got the job? Well, I work for the government. Look, if I got a company, am I going to take my credit cards and my bank account and give it to everybody in the company and say, go burn my money, go do whatever you want, take all my shit home, sell it on eBay, give yourself raises? That's what our government is. They're not our kings and queens or whatever manifestation you want to look at it. These are employees. And yet they have this arrogance, this hubris, that they think that they're entitled, particularly the academics, the bird brains who can't even get a real job. Oh, I'm an academic. Good for you. I know an alcoholic. He's more trustworthy than you are. I know a heroin addict. I trust him more than I trust you. Because you have let us down repeatedly. You hide it all away behind a paywall. Oh, the decay of a tritium atom. Well, it doesn't have a huge energy, but it doesn't go away for 120 years. So it sequesters in your body and it pounds away at your DNA and your chromosomes. Close enough. Cesium, it'll pound right through your body, your organs, your muscles, your bones, and out the other side, and you'll pick it up in your Geiger counter. Tritium doesn't work that way. It's in your body, and it's just pounding away, and your body's attacking it with white blood cells. Throughout your entire body, because tritium, it's like water. You suck it up when you're getting showers. Get shorter showers. It's shocking what they got done to us. And this is not going to play out over long term. This is playing out right here, right now, accelerating every day. Death of the Pacific Ocean is not going to go away. And these people know that. They're getting that now. They understand. We went out and showed an extinction event of 4 other million species in the ocean didn't recede the coastline. We showed that over 260 days, 15,000 miles. The nucleus of the tritium atom is so good, it doesn't have to be super, but it's good enough that it can pound away for 120 years at your chromosome and your DNA. And see, that's what makes it like potassium-40 or rubidium or the natural radiation in the environment doesn't do that. Man-made does. We can only get whatever we got in our body or natural. Our body won't sequester anymore. It's homeostasis. Your body regulates it like the thermostat regulates the temperature in your house or the automobile regulates, the cruise control regulates your automobile. But man-made, like tritium, it sequesters in your body has to attack it for 120 years. So you got less oxygen in your body because the red blood cells are displaced. Radioactive iodine detected in 6 seaweed samples by South Korea. Concerns over Fukushima contamination after TEPCO admits plant is leaking into the ocean. Like they didn't know, like they weren't aware. Water now at Fukushima plant is 3 times more cesium. Gee, really? That's all? But that's what I mean, right? Like cesium is just a tracer. But Chernobyl was nutty. So it's just lie after lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. But at least they're admitting something. At least they're alluding to something. But in reality, it was 3 100% meltdowns in Japan, plus reactor 4 lost its entire inventory. Then on the roofs of these buildings were multiple reactor cores on each roof. 10 years worth of fuel on the roof. They change the fuel every 2 years, 18 months. Comparison behavior of tritium and cesium in the atmosphere. Why are you studying all that for? I wonder why are they putting it behind paywalls? Ontario tritium facilities. neutron captures, blah, blah, blah. Tritium is a non-common product of the nuclear fission of uranium-235, plutonium-239, and uranium-233. 1 atom per 10,000 fissions. But it's a product of the uranium-235. Uranium-235 is not natural. It's created through the chain reaction. Plutonium-239 is not natural. It's created through the chain reaction. Uranium-233 is not natural. And so tritium is not natural. It's created from these manifestations of originally putting uranium, enriched uranium in there. And then we create thousands of radioactive isotopes. But 400 tons a day of highly radioactive water, are you kidding me? Really? It takes 13,500 tons a minute for each reactor, 1,440 minutes a day. And this is what you're saying, oh no, we're cooling it down, boy. And we're getting, I got 400 tons. You got a river running underneath it to pouring water, it rains on it, snows on it. It's coming down through the environment. The whole site is liquefaction. They got a wall there, the water's building up all over the place, lifting this stuff up. Remember, these rods detonated, they bulldozed it under the soil all over, like a mile away. It blew up and went right out into the friggin' ocean. It's right by the ocean, not like Chernobyl, 600 kilometers away from the ocean. Fukushima, right on the ocean. The rods went right out, right into the ocean. They actually went out and cemented the bay around Fukushima, the floor, the ocean floor, because the rods went out and landed out there. You're not going to stop it. It affects the lifetime intake of organic-bound tritium-tritiated water on rats. So they were sacrificed at 21 to 71 days, and the ovaries had severe damages. What you take away from it? And that's the cell in the ovary, if you're wondering what that was all about, right? But anyway, that was the accumulated effect, one of the results of one of the studies, of one of the many of the thousands of studies. I got thousands of these academic studies, thousands, just on tritium. 100 times more strontium than cesium in the water. 3 years from contamination to reach the U.S. West Coast. Jet streams get here in 3 days. They never stop coming out in the environment. The ocean gets here in 45 days. Corrosion current at 5 miles per hour, because it travels faster than that, but just say 5 miles per hour, 24 hours a day, times 45 days, 5,500 miles. The rain is picking up and bringing it over before that. It never stopped going into the ocean. So every day there's a plume. 45 days later, 45 plumes. And then till the end of time, there's a plume. For every plume that's coming out, there's another one went in. For every plume lift up with tens of thousands of miles of rain. Think about these are so small they act like nutrients. Even if they go to the ocean floor, they come right back up because they're smaller than the nutrient that comes up normally from the cold water, from the ocean floor to feed the phytoplankton at the surface, the bases, food chain, the oxygen, the carbon sequestering chains. They're gone. That's why the anchovies, herring, sardines, everything else is gone. That's the results from my expeditions along the coastline, by the way. I'm not going to cover that today. But all the species are missing. And the birds and the bigger species here, they're all missing. So the 5,600 highly visible species, less than 100 was found throughout the coastline on the Fukushima expeditions for life. Let's keep going though. We're doing really good. We're boogieing. It's going to be, I got a lot. I'm going to get through it all before it stops. Tritium handling. They got studies on how to handle tritium. 3H, man-made. The stuff from the solar system, who cares? Everything that's here naturally, who cares? Why would anybody bring that up in conversation? Just to confuse you. Just to manipulate you. Just so you would fight with people like me, or so you wouldn't be able to absorb it or comprehend it. That's their hope, right? I know you're better than that. I know you're smarter than that. I know you don't have to be a genius to understand this. You just have to understand there's another narrative and listen to it a few times like I'm doing here. Once you listen to this narrative once, then you're prepared. You won't believe it. It might take a couple of months for it to really resonate for you, but you're prepared to deal with the lies and the nonsense, because now you understand that a banana and a potato chip or natural radiation is a total deception, and that you can't trust that person no more. What's so difficult about that? How hard is it to remember that? How hard is it to act on that? Well, apparently very hard. If you do, you might get arrested like me for doing it. Hey, pat on the back for you. Highly radioactive water to either be boiled until it evaporates or dumped in the ocean. We're worried about a terrorist because he's going to evaporate a bomb and spread radiation everywhere. But it's okay for them to do that. Do you get the disconnect, the total, completely disassociation that's going on here? Because they've got to do that, because otherwise they've got to pay for it for thousands of years to store it. That's all that is. And as wrong as me smoking a cigarette right now. By the way, my cigarettes don't got 7,000 chemicals. And my apologies for the tobacco company for not smoking 7,000 chemicals. And by the way, who woke up and said, hey, I got it, 7,000 chemicals in the cigarette, they'll never kick it. Minor CNTs, natural radiation, natural backy. It's too hot here. I almost died today. It was so hot. That's okay though. We're winding down. We haven't got very much to get through, so. Highly radioactive water need to be boiled. I know something that should be boiling ain't the water. Don't tell me how bad cigarettes are. Not interested. I already know. Why do you think I'm smoking the ones with no chemicals? Because I'm trying to kill it, get rid of it. Most addictive thing imaginable, because no one told me there were 7,000 chemicals in it. If you gave me a chocolate bar with 7,000 chemicals, you think I would eat it? Huh? Do you? You ain't gonna be down there buying it every day. I got a chocolate bar with the 7,000 chemicals. I don't want the one with the chocolate. I want the one with the... Right? Why didn't they tell you there were 7,000 chemicals in your cigarettes? In all the advertisement adverts out there about how bad nicotine is. How come? Because you might go looking for justice. You might say, hey, that's disgusting. You might say, hey, let's get these people and convict them of crimes against humanity. Look at all the people they killed with 7,000 chemicals. No, but that's the same people in the universities that said they're trying to link nicotine to cancer. They're trying to link it to cancer for 40 odd years straight. Can't do it. But they won't tell you the 7,000 chemicals there might give you cancer. The same academics telling you that radiation is not harmful as like a banana and a potato chip and walking in the sunshine are the same ones that hid the 7,000 chemicals in the cigarettes. Same ones that are hiding 6 times more breast cancer around nuclear power plants. So why create these studies if there's no issue? Government admits water pouring in the ocean. I like that word. That's pretty good. I can live with that one. As long as it's not bleeding. Oh, I hate that word. I want to break shit every time I hear that word. Or leaking. My butt was leaking a few years ago. What the frick has that got to do with this? Well, that's what it's equivalent to when you say the word leaking. Oh. The jerry can was leaking. Reveals it may have started just after the nuclear accident. You haven't covered that headline. Isotopes effects of the 3H, adrenaline, with very high specific activity. Gee, I wonder what that could be. Appears to increase in direct proportion in the number of tritium substitutes per molecule. Very high specific activity unsuitable for studies of uptake. Blah, 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 blah. That's not what I'm looking for. That one shouldn't have been there. No way to stop Fukushima? Well, I guess it should, but because it's time to how the adrenaline works with it. Man-made radiation, all these studies on it, knows everything about it. Everything about it. No, it's okay, Dana. No, it's fine, Dana. No, Dana. I'm not going to hurt nobody, Dana. Over and over and over and over. When you look at all the studies I showed you at night, this morning, whatever, it's early morning here. No way to stop Fukushima radioactive water going to the Pacific. They'll continue for 20, 30 years. Really? You got to keep putting sarcophagus over Chernobyl for 3,000 years. Fukushima are 3 times the size. Chernobyl was a 30% meltdown, 1/3 the size. Chernobyl stopped after 10 days. Chernobyl. Let's keep going. Now the threat of radioactive water rushing our way from Japan. Really? Rushing? It's already there, moron. Here, dummy. Here, useless. Chicken neck. Traces of radiation found in the area of fish. No danger, says pro-nuke. So what do you call him an expert? Pro-nuke expert. What does that even mean? Well, if you go listen to it, it was like a banana or a potato chip walking in the sunshine. That's what the word expert means. That's what nuclear expert means. He's going to tell you it's like a banana, potato chip, or walking in the sunshine, or getting out of the airplane, or sleeping next to somebody. Or there's more natural radiation than there is from Fukushima. That's what they call it, contamination. Radionuclides in the bones of wild animals from northeast Poland. Tritium, Fukushima, Chernobyl fault eruptor. What year was that? Fuel like hot particles. Oh, 96 downloads, all that 4 years, right? Gets 96 people look at it. So more people, when they watch my video, seen it, this then actually went out and bought it. 39 samples of front leg bones originating from deer, roe deer, boar, elk, shot during the winters. 19. See, the animals are way up the food chain. You look at the biota, you look at the insects, you look at the bacteria. And that's all missing. That's why they had the big forest fires in Chernobyl. Because the stuff is not there to break down the trees or the rot anymore. And so this stuff becomes very volatile. This is extremely serious. We are unable to control the radioactive water seeping. Seeping? Look, if it was seeping, I wouldn't care. I could live with it. What's happening at Fukushima is not seeping. It's got nothing to do with that word. CNN. Big surprise. CNN said Fukushima was 10% to Chernobyl. Right? And who's going to hold them accountable? People still watch them. At least turn them off. Factors influence the transfer of radionuclides in agricultural food chain. What are you talking about? So if I got like food with potassium, rubidium, and natural stuff, and I put that food in my grocery bag, are they getting mixed up? No. You take man-made, gets mixed up. It's like a screwdriver gets magnetized by a battery. It's magnetized forever. As soon as you take it away, now take another screwdriver, magnetize it on that battery, take another screwdriver, magnetize it. That's what radiation does. It's in the soil, it's radiating all your food. Just by proximity. If it's in your body, it's radiating your hand because it's beating out and pounding through your hand. Pounding straight up through your... It's pounding in every direction. Once it's in your body, it's hitting everything. It's not like it's got to sit right alongside of an organ or a gland or something. No. It's in your body. It's in your feet. It's radiating your pelvis. China syndrome. Really? Gee, I like that headline. That's a party one. Armstrong. The dispersion of 137 from Sellafield in Chernobyl in the northwest European sea shelves. A little bit of tongue twister for me tonight. Well, Sellafield is 4 million liters a day coming out of that ocean. Fukushima is only 300 tons. Yeah, but they need 13,500 tons to stay cool. Not anymore, Dana, because there's none left, only rubble. Measures will be taken to prevent adverse impact on ocean. Oh, yeah, how are you going to do that? You're going to send out more homeless and destitute and immigrants who don't speak the language? You're burning it in the incinerators. You're dumping it in the ocean, the rivers, the lakes, the estuaries. In Japan. And taking it out of free prefectures and burning it in the incinerators. Forest fires comes right over here. They're tens of thousands of times bigger particles than the stuff I'm talking about. But that can't make it over here. All the tsunami debris can make it over to North America. But no, not radiation, Dana. It respects the borders. Determination of the 240 plutonium, 239 plutonium atomic ratio, and the 237 neptunium concentration within marine sediment. All these studies about it. No, but it's not harmful, Dana. Why waste all that time and energy and effort and monetary and students and academics and universities and facilities and equipment? Senior scientist plume Fukushima nuclear material. Nuclear material, I like that word. From initial releases to reach U.S. West Coast before August. No, it got here in 45 days. There was 45 plumes right behind it. Right across. Look, the plumes came right across the ocean non-stop. Right across the continent of North America non-stop, right across the Atlantic, right across Europe, and right back here again. To Japan and back over here again. Never stop. Penetration radionuclides across the skin, the right age dependent, and permeation through the skin and through baby skin. So they know how this stuff works, how it gets in there. Like uranium will go up the receptors of your nose and get in your brain that way. Think about that one. So tiny it is, right? Nuclear leaks poison the Pacific. We're not talking about the Pacific Ocean. We're talking about the Pacific Ocean, so it's not just Fukushima that's affected. Criticism will be worldwide if the contamination keeps flowing from the plant. Well, gee, guess what? Contamination is still flowing through the plant. FDA paying attention to the leak at Fukushima. So don't worry. Shut your little pie holes. We'll test the seafood. When people get nervous, we'll say it's okay. Don't worry. It's your universities you got to worry about. It's your academics that you got to be frightened to death of. It's your media that has betrayed you and destroyed you and left you in the agony and the misery and to pick up the pieces on your own without no warning, without no information, and just provided you with the bootlickers, with the puke machines, with the nuclear, disgusting, demented, twisted, soulless, spineless, heartless freaks of nature. Is your academics. The biggest, just disgusting. Academics are being hoodwinked and they're writing books nobody can buy. They're not being hoodwinked. They're being given a bunch of money to write a book so they can use it for some other nefarious reason. TV China, Korea, Taiwan, New Zealand, and others are going to want to know just how out of control this newly revealed radiation emergency is at Fukushima. Newly revealed. Yeah, because it was only a couple of days ago they admitted that they had 3 meltdowns 5 years later. So now they're allowed to use other languages because now they're allowed to say the word meltdown. So now they're allowed to talk in those contexts. That's what this is all about. So they got a whole new PR firm game waiting to come out, bludgeon the opposition like me and you. Urgent situation, frightening discovery at Fukushima. Plan ice wall. So why would you put an ice wall? Why would you put a real wall? Why would you put something there you got to turn on and turn off? Who the hell? Well, because the government paid for the ice wall because it's experimental. But a normal wall would have come out of the shareholders' pockets. That's why. Oh, I know. We put an ice wall there. The government will pay for that. Who's the government? It's the taxpayers. The very people that are poisoning non-stop. The people that hid it all from originally. Academics being writing books. Editors of the journal, which was Elsevier. Well, Elsevier, Springer, and Wiley have around 20,000 publishers. The biggest journals out there. And they get the copyrights to your studies for free. And then they lock it up behind a paywall where very, very tiny, very few people, and you got to have certain credentials in order to get access to it. I can get the synopsis. But anyway, the entire management of Elsevier quit and started up their own journal because they said these people are insane. Whether this was honest work or just another co-op, who knows. But what they said was, no one can read it. Why are we even here? We're here to archive it. We're not here to be distribution and help inspire the world with academics. No, we're here to archive it and put it away behind a paywall. But yet the people of the country, the people who paid for it, their children are the ones who produce it. Like if I was offered to publish my stuff, but who the frig is going to go out and peer review what I've done 260 days? And then it sits in limbo. The idea was every picture at the nuclear proctologist and all my videos are free for everybody. They're free. I don't care what you do with them. You can use all those pictures, all that stuff to make documentaries. Because you won't go out there and do the whole coastline. I don't expect you to. But together we created this documentation. This is for everybody. Why would I lock it up behind a paywall where you can't get access to it? Yeah, but I'm published. I mean, how would that make any sense? It's the same thing as what's going on you're looking at right there, where all these people quit to try to give it open access publish. The people of Japan are responsible for poisoning of the world's food chain due to hiding away Fukushima's catastrophe. They have to stand up and take action because that's where it starts. Not by a 10% pay cut. Oh, my bad. It's worse than that. It's my genocide, my ecocide is what they done. And we can't switch it off because we won't even try. The buck has to stop somewhere. Well, it won't never stop for them. They'll get everything they ever wanted. That's just the way that is. And if I ask you to donate, I'm a bad person. If I ask you to help create something, I'm a bad person. And if I don't ask, then I'm a bad person because I didn't try hard enough. So you can donate at nuclearproctologist.org with your credit cards. We've been doing it for years. It's very safe. There's no dissatisfied customer ever. And you can donate at PayPal, or Dana Durnford at hotmail.com. You'll find links below the video directly to the donations. And I don't get nothing. And I need something. I need to make a media. I need to be able to go out and on a drop of a hat and explore the coastline with the operation I got. And these are so expensive. And if everybody was to donate $1 or $2 a month, I wouldn't have to humiliate myself and humble myself constantly asking. But I will. And I'll continue to do what I'm doing because I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. If someone told me what else I could do, that would work. Making short videos don't work. Every time I make a little 2-minute video, it never gets any views. I make a 1-hour video, at least I get some. You get people come in and that conversation happens. But if I make a 2-minute video, no one cares. It's ignored. It doesn't show up anywhere. And it's a lot of work to do that. But I'll be back. I'm burnt out. I'm going back on the ocean again tomorrow and the next day and the day after. I'm just going to drift around because I can't afford the gas to go out and do the job anyway. But I can go out there and drift around and observe and see with my own eyes and understand a little bit more because that opportunity is fading. And I feel that urgency. And the weather is finally here, a year off the ocean almost. And it's okay for me to get out there and understand personally, go through it again in that context. Because that is the driving force of why I'm here and doing the things I'm doing. It's because we do have an extinction event. We documented it up at the nuclearproctologist.org. And it's serious stuff, folks. Hugs for everybody. We'll see everybody next time. Take care.